Watching these boats fleet racing has been absolutely incredible, but there have been technical nuances that have been making it challenging for the crews. I've done my best to unpack them here for you on the ground in Sardinia. The Italians, as I'm sure you can hear, have put on one hell of a party, and that's probably down to the phenomenal performance from Luna Rossa and the Italians. Here is my flavour of what it's like on the ground and a breakdown of what happened on the racetrack. It's the morning after day one of racing here in Cagliari, and what a start to the regatta it's been. It had everything. We had splashdowns, tight crosses, and a really compelling performance from an underdog team. These AC40 boats, they're skittish in the breeze at the best of times, and the sea state yesterday clearly compounded that as the teams battled with the autopilot flight control system. But Luna Rossa, women and youth, they were actually the only team not to splash down yesterday. So I spoke to Margherita Porro, the co-helm on board, and asked her just why they were so much better than everyone else. Every other team has blamed the autopilot for their splashdowns, but you were the only team, as far as I'm aware, that didn't splash down or anything today. So you must be doing something right.
Yeah, for sure the main problem in these waves is the autopilot, and we know him very, very well. It's like a friend of ours, but also a big enemy sometimes. So yes, we know the autopilot. Sometimes it makes strange things on our boat, but like one time in, I don't know, a lot of trainings. But yeah, it's hard to live with him.
Yeah, and is a lot of that understanding done in the data as well, understanding the algorithm and how the autopilot works? How much do you know about that as helms?
Yeah, for sure we know. Engineers, coaches try to teach us something. We try to understand, and so I'm starting to know something more about how the autopilot works, and that makes us sail in a different way when this happens, when the autopilot doesn't work so well. To me, Porro's attitude towards their autopilot system really stood out. After chatting to a lot of the other teams in the mix zone, there's a real stark difference between how Porro and her team treat the autopilot and how the rest of the teams treat the autopilot. Where other teams were using the autopilot as an excuse or reason for their splashdowns and errors, Porro told us that the autopilot system is effectively their fifth person on board. They've given it a personality and they've learned to sail with it and try to understand it, just as they would another person on board, whereas other teams look to be battling with it. It sounds like there's been a lot of hours and time spent poring over the analysis and engineering that's gone into the system, and they've really tried to understand it, which looks to have showed in their results and their performance. As we gear up for a similar day today, will the targets on the backs of Luna Rossa, women and youth, upset their no-pressure attitude? Well, who knows? We'll find out today and as the regatta progresses. The second day of the regatta was lighter than forecast, a day where staying in the pressure was key to ensure manoeuvres were free of any splashdowns. It was a day that was dominated by the Defenders senior team, who picked up a 1-3-2, only one place better than the informed team, the young guns, Luna Rossa, women and youth. It was a different story at the back of the fleet though. GB1 had a second technical issue that prevented them from racing, and Alinghi nearly sent carbon fibre flying during a near miss at the start of race 5 before capsizing later in the race. I spoke to Alinghi's port helm, Phil Robertson, who told me a bit more about his day.
Yeah, tricky day. Yeah, really tough. We're very big picture in this environment and competition. You know, we're a very new squad, sailing and whole team wise, it's a whole new group. So yeah, pressure testing everything is the aim of the game, and yeah, we're certainly going out there each day trying to improve in every aspect.
Yeah, and a pretty unfortunate situation to start race 2, when you infringed the Kiwi boat. I'm sure you've done your apologies and everything, but talk us through that incident. It looked pretty tight. You're only a couple meters away from their main farm.
Yeah, I can talk you through it as a port helmsman, but yeah, we were obviously setting up for a port start, and I sort of dipped one boat and saw another which was on the wind, and sort of expected to then see the Kiwi boat straight after and be a tight dip behind them, and just got the call that we're going board down and tacking. So yeah, I actually haven't seen any of the situation, was very unaware of that we even infringed. So that's the unique thing about these boats, you know, one side sees something, the other side sees nothing. So yeah, it's communication is key, and it's yeah, there's a bit of a, I guess it sounds like a very tight situation, but yeah, and I still haven't even seen it.
Plausible deniability. Good. And yeah, obviously through the jibe, it looks like you pressed the wrong button. You're going to remap the buttons, or what's the...
Yeah, I wish I could remap the buttons, and yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a, yeah, we're really struggling a bit with our jibes today, so we're trying to do a few different things, and one of them was not to go board up halfway through it, so I thought I'd give that a crack to see if that helped, but no, definitely didn't help. I can write that out of the playbook. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of learning to do with the autopilot, you know. It'd be nice if you wrote the code and you sort of understood how it worked, or had people in your squad that wrote the code, but yeah, it's definitely something that's, yeah, you just got to trial and error and try different things and try to learn it by doing hours. And yeah, there's definitely some techniques you can do to assist it. And yeah, we probably weren't doing a very good job of that today.
What are those techniques, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I can't tell you. And it's only one secret I can hold on to. No, you can play around a lot with obviously the cant and sync settings and trim settings as well on the boat. That's sort of your three controls of the autopilot. You can tell it what you want it to achieve, and whether it does that or not is another thing. So yeah, ideally it would follow what you asked it to do, but yeah, it's a tricky little thing, and the way you load it and unload it as well is huge.
There's just no substitute for time in the water, and even more so, time in the AC40 one design configuration. That's one reason why we're seeing Luna Rossa Women and Youth outclass their senior team elders. They may have both done a lot of AC40 sailing, but that's not necessarily with it in the one design configuration with autopilot flight control. I chatted with Pete Burling in the mix zone, who said that he had spent a fair bit of time on the AC40, but in a manual configuration instead. Him and his team may be battling with the autopilot this weekend behind the youth team, but will that manual mode sailing time pay dividends in their preparation for the AC in Naples next year? Luna Rossa Women and Youth's place in that final match race was never really in doubt until it all unravelled on that final day. An early start penalty was dished out to the youngsters in race 7, but no effort was made by them to clear it, all due to a technical complication with their communication system, as far as we understand it. And in the eyes and ears of those watching the broadcast, Chief Umpire Richard Slater gave Luna Rossa Women and Youth every opportunity to clear their penalty.
We are freeze.
Right, you are to then start doing something to lose distance. I'll call you in. You are to lose VMG.
And they are about to receive a lot more than just a slap on the wrist. This is real confusion here for the regatta leaders.
Their lack of even just an attempt to clear themselves resulted in their disqualification from the race.
This is the umpires. Italy Grey, you are disqualified for penalties, not taking them.
Well, while the British are celebrating disaster on the water for the Italian fans, the regatta leaders, Luna Rossa Women and Youth, disqualified after that penalty confusion.
It meant that Emirates Team New Zealand senior team trailed by 1 point, and Burling and Tita's Luna Rossa a further 1 point behind the Kiwis, setting up a thrilling, match-deciding final fleet race. Gradoni and Porro had it all to do in race 8. With the flat water conditions, they no longer had their superpower. Their ability to control the AC40 so much better than everyone else in the fleet in that short, sharp Cagliari chopped served them so well in the days prior. But it was no use to them today. The flat water conditions meant that the fleet was on far more of a level playing field than ever before. And I feel like the young Italians knew that going into the race. Why else would they pull such a wildly risky start in the 8th? The pressure was on them. A poor end start with a breeze in a right phase is not ideal at the best of times, never mind trying to cross in front of all those starboard tackers. Their wild move was compounded by another early start penalty, one of those that necessitated them having to recross the line. They tumbled all the way down the standings, the distance just too far to make up over the remainder of the race. My heart truly sank for them. It was all looking so good. But it wasn't all bad for Italy. The senior Luna Rossa team won the final fleet race, with Kiwis Outteridge and Menzies finishing ahead of the Italian Women and Youth to set up the final match race that pitched Peter Burling against his old team that he won the last 3 America's Cups with. The match racing moves pulled by Burling and Outteridge were incredible. It was like watching jet fighters dancing on water. It was so exciting to see for the first time since the last Cup. And Burling certainly showed his leadership. He led the match racing strategy in the pre-start with such confident communication with his teammates. He was holding nothing back against his former co-helm, Nathan Outteridge. Both of them had time to kill at the start, but the Kiwis had too much to kill without the space to do so. It necessitated a splashdown from the Kiwis to try and kill their speed quick enough before the line. A costly error by Outteridge that gave Luna Rossa a healthy lead from the start. It was a lead that they went on to maintain with a tight grip on their rivals for the entirety of the race. They crossed the line to win the first regatta of the 38th America's Cup cycle. Considering the senior Luna Rossa team didn't have as tight a grasp on the autopilot system in the chop in the days prior, was it fortunate that their sister team failed to deliver today? Maybe. But regardless of that, they sailed well enough to put themselves in a position to snatch it. I wasn't able to catch the winners after, as I had to catch a flight to get back here and get home, but this is what Burling had to say to America's Cup media.
This weekend was not a test of technical prowess, it was a test of sailing talent under pressure. How did your team do? Give us a summary of how well you delivered.
Well, I think really proud of the way the team delivered. You know, we definitely felt after those first few days we left a lot of points out there, made a lot of mistakes, and I suppose weren't really showing on the leaderboard the level we were sailing at. But you know, today we built a solid plan overnight. Had a few things we wanted to tidy up, and then went out and executed it. And yeah, super proud of the way the group did that under a bit of pressure to actually make the final. I mean, going into today, I thought if we made the final, we'd probably be versing a different boat to what we ended up versing. But you know, in saying that, it was pretty special to verse my old team as well and get a win on the board.
In your previous Cup wins, you sailed with sailors that you'd raced with for a really long time. You'd really developed those relationships. This is brand new. How much confidence does today's win give you that your sailing team's got what it takes?
I think it gives us so much confidence, you know, not just in the principal team, but also seeing the level that youth and women were performing at. And just, I think for the team as a whole, it gives us that good bit of energy. But, you know, I think also the exciting thing for me is, like you say, we've raced, 3 days together now under pressure, and the rate we were improving is super exciting. So, you know, I think we've got an amazing group there with, you know, Ruji, Marco, and the rest of the team, Ombi, Vito, Gigi. You know, some pretty special talent in this group, and you know, everyone's just there to push each other forward. So, you know, we're super excited to see where we can get to in the next year to try and win the America's Cup for Italy for the first time.
What about for you, Pete? It's a big move coming here. I mean, we thought if we cut you in half, there was a silver fur, and this is a big change. How much of a relief is it to come here and to get that win?
Yeah, I mean, when I left Team New Zealand, I honestly didn't think I was going to be competing in the next America's Cup. I didn't really talk to any other teams, but then, you know, once that kind of happened, you know, the phone started ringing pretty hard and the situation changed pretty quickly. So, you know, to get this opportunity, get the trust of the management and everyone in Luna Rossa to come in and perform a role, and, you know, it's been an amazing journey so far. You know, the first, 8 months has been absolutely incredible, and looking forward to seeing what's to come. I mean, you just have to look at the crowd outside, see how much excitement's here for a World Series event, and just think kind of what it's going to be like in Naples, and what is like 10 months is going to be super, super special.
And just lastly, I can't imagine what it would be like to enter the match race arena and face your old team, Emirates Team New Zealand, and Nathan Outteridge. Well, how weird was that moment?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would have preferred to be entering versus Marco and have the derby for the final, but yeah, to enter versus your old team is super special as well. And, you know, I obviously know them really well, they know me really well, and, you know, to be able to execute kind of what we plan to do and control that right-hand side and, you know, be really strong at the beat was super, I suppose, special for us as a group. You know, when we went in today, we didn't talk much about the match race. You know, the main focus was making it through the match race. So we had about 5 minutes to make a good plan, made a good plan, and went out and executed it.
We've seen a pretty happy Peter Burling in his celebrations after his team crossed the finish line, it's fair to say that he's justified his move to Luna Rossa. Even more so by beating the very team and co-helm that he won the 37th America's Cup with. And the heartache for the Italian women and youth team. It's hard to imagine how they'll be feeling after their fall from the top. Gradoni, Porro and team have certainly got the performance in them, and there's no doubt that they'll have ruffled a few of the feathers of their senior rivals. After such a dominant showing from both Luna Rossa teams, it raises the question to whether this cup cycle is for them. They'll take a lot from this, knowing that their sailors have the ability to beat the rest in equal machinery. But we shouldn't get too carried away. The cup is a complex beast of data, design, engineering and talent. But I just can't help but think this could be the perfect start to the Italian fairy tale story come the conclusion of the Cup in Naples next year.